climb into the driver's seat and smile at the roar of my truck coming to life. No matter how many times I hunt down a raider, it always gives me a special pleasure to make prey out of them. I throw the butcher face down in the dirt. The townies scatter as if expecting him to jump up and grab them, staring goggle-eyed, first at him and then at me. Several of them back away, their eyes wide. My mistake. I forgot I was dealing with civilized folks. At least, that's what they fancy themselves, hiding in their walls and ramshackle communities and clinging to scraps of what life was like before the bombs fell. They're not like raiders, who fully embrace the mayhem of the world and make their livings killing and looting. Townies would rather rely on scavenged canned food, rather stay half-starved than eat human flesh like the sharks do. I admire the way they stick to some semblance of morality, even in a world like this. I try to do the same, though I'm no townie. Not anymore. Of course, I'm not a goddamn shark, either. I exist somewhere in between the two ways of life, apart from all of them. The townies don't let me forget it, either. Right now, they're staring at me like I'm some kind of monster that wandered into their midst. The 24 standing in a half-circle around me comprise the bulk of the population of Sunrise, a dingy little town on the edge of what we call the Eastern Wastes. The buildings of Sunrise are all stout and cramped together, not one above a single story high. It's like they're crouched in the dirt, afraid to lose their hold on the earth. Bo the butcher lies still in the middle of the dusty ring the people of Sunrise call the town square. "Is he dead?" one man asks, after several moments of silence. He cautiously cranes his neck and then retracts it, like he simultaneously wants to get a better look and fears what he'll see if he does. "Well, no," I say, my eyebrows drawing together. "Figured you'd want to do it yourselves." They ogle at me some more. One man clears his throat. Nobody meets my eyes. "But he's one of—" a townie starts and stops. He licks his lips and drops his voice to a loud whisper. "Jedediah Johnson's men." "Yes," I say, not sure what that has to do with anything. "And he killed your sheriff over a card game, so you wanted him dead. What am I missing here?" There's a long stretch of silence, in which all the townies glance at each other and shuffle their feet, and refuse to look at me. Finally, a woman steps forward. She's a solidly built, middle-aged woman, dusty and stout, like the buildings of her town. The top of her head barely reaches my chin, but then again, my height rivals that of a decent amount of the men in town as well. I recognize her as the woman who made the initial deal with me, the wife of the recently murdered sheriff, who seems to be taking on the role of her dead husband. "Well, there's a reason we hired you to do it," she says. "If word got out that we killed one of Jedediah's men, he'd burn this place to the ground." She pauses, her eyes sliding across the scarred and burnt section of my face, the angry red skin that stretches across the entire left side. With my hair tied back, my burns are on full display. I'm not afraid to show them off, but if this woman thinks she can bring them into an argument, I'll blow her damn head off. "We know what happened to Old Creek," she says, and leaves it at that. My lip curls in disgust. So they're willing to hire someone to kill a man, but not to get their hands dirty themselves. I knew that they hired me because they didn't have the means to take Bo out themselves, but it seems they also don't have the guts when the opportunity presents itself. I thought they'd relish the chance to deal out their own justice, especially this woman who lost her husband, but I guess I overestimated them. In the dirt between me and the woman, Bo the butcher starts to stir, lifting his head and looking around through the one eye that isn't swollen shut. When his eye lands on me, he chuckles, spitting out a glob of saliva and dust. "Knew you wouldn't have the balls to kill me," he says. "Now if you'll just untie me, we can talk about..." I unholster